The Virgo Rising Ascendant. It's a beautiful rigidity. When I think about Virgo Rising, why do I think about content creators that are in the wellness niche, the self-improvement niche, right? They have those accounts where they look like they have it all figured out. They have the perfect life. They have protocols. They have a health plan. They have a fitness plan. Virgo is a sign that's ruled by Mercury, and when it's on the ascendant, they are problem solvers. They are looking to live their lives through intellectual frameworks, through systems, through yeses and nos. They want to create boundaries and rules for themselves. And that can be really great. The natural home for Virgo is the 6th house, which is it's health and routine, and it's more than that. It's more than just your health and your routine. It's your systems for living your life on a day-to-day basis. It's your rules for living. It is how you kind of take everything, all the chaos, all the experiences of your life, what you know, what you've learned from your mistakes, and how you integrate all of that into your mode of being. Are you someone that is going to, you watch Netflix, as your routine after work? Do you go for walks in the morning? What do you, do? Do you drink soda? Do you these kind of just general rules and frameworks? This is what we're talking about when we talk about Virgo. Now, the Virgo rising individual has a tremendous amount of power and intelligence, again, to live powerfully through whatever system or philosophy they choose. The danger is that there can be rigidity. The danger is that you have someone that gets too hung up on the details that they miss the forest for the trees. These are folks that come across to other people as perfectionists. They can sometimes bring perfectionist type extremism to how they live their life. It doesn't mean that they are perfectionists, right? In fact, these are folks that are sometimes really deep in the trenches in their own lives in terms of battling this need for perfection while also managing the chaos, right? We get into the shadow side of Virgo, the shadow side of Virgo Ascendant, which is Pisces, which is, chaos. It's going with the flow. It's the opposite of imposing any order on anything. It's letting things just be crazy and boundaryless and all over the place. For Virgo rising, it's this lifelong battle to, wage that war, figure out what to let go of, what to let lie, and what to really die on a hill for. Virgo risings can get themselves into trouble when they use this critical approach to life. They use this perfectionism in a way that's more self-sabotaging. Instead of kind of, adopting a philosophy and going with it, but not being too rigid about it, allowing some flow to also come into play, they are taking everything so seriously. Everything is so critical. Every move is an indictment against how they believe, and they don't see, again, the forest for the trees. They don't make room for the spontaneous exceptions. They don't make room for the spontaneous craziness that actually does inform how we choose to live and our habits. You have to let some of that into your life. Otherwise, you are going so hard in the paint with this rigid set of rules and frameworks, and you forget why the frick you even imposed such a crazy set of rules in the first place. The rules start to take over. In their relationships, Virgo risings, they can be very, again, devoted. They're very problem-solving oriented. They want to help other people. They see the inconsistencies in other people. They see and sometimes can be very critical of how other people live their lives. What can come across for Virgo as sort of a helpful, caring, problem-solving type of energy they bring can come across to other people as excessive criticism and nitpicking, and it feels like Sometimes you want the Virgo person to be in the trenches with the messiness of emotions, with the inconsistency of the human condition. It's really hard for Virgo risings to sometimes sit in that space, right? They're very much like, yeah, you had a bad day, you had a bad week, right? Or you're not feeling well. Are you eating a lot of sugar? Like they're trying to find reasons and explanations. And for them, this is like a helpful approach because they see a problem and they want to help you solve it. But sometimes you want Virgo rising to be a little bit more vulnerable. And that's the vulnerability of Pisces on the other side, that kind of infinite ability to connect with a circumstance, with another person, without judgment, without framing, without putting in a box. This is hard for Virgo. Virgos can become absolute masters in what they choose to devote themselves to. These are people that actually, can achieve what we think about when we think about like a self-actualized life. And it's important for Virgo to be able to do this to some degree. Sometimes they act like a little bit of know-it-alls, and sometimes it's because they are know-it-alls. They do know what's wrong. They can explain it. They can solve it, but it's not always the most helpful thing for people that are not used to the Virgo energy or are just coming at their experience in their life from a different place. These themes manifest themselves on a physical level too. Virgo rising folks can be, they have a tremendously kind of youthful appearance. They age pretty gracefully. They do take care of themselves. They are wiry. They are, they can have good figures. They have less of a tendency to carry excessive weight. And it's important to them, like their appearance is important to them. And there can be an attachment sometimes to that too. There can be a fear or attachment of getting older. There can be, they start seeing the gray hairs coming and that's really terrifying to them, or they can impose, arbitrary rules on themselves, like, oh shit, like I'm 28 now, or I'm 32, or I'm 35, like my biological clock is ticking. Like sometimes they feel like everything has to happen to a very dedicated or uniform plan or system or sequence. And this is more true, I think, again, for Virgo risings that are still learning to master their rising energy. They just need to lighten up sometimes. Like they don't, because their ability to not lighten up is their tremendous superpower and they can accomplish a lot, but they stress themselves out. They can put a lot of stress miles on their lives when they just, again, don't have the balance. They don't have that balance, right? And so it makes sense why in the Zodiac, like Libra is the next sign that comes after Virgo, because that is sort of the next karmic progression for Virgo energy. It's sometimes just having a little bit more balance. They don't need to become Libras, they need to be Virgos, but just keeping that thought in the back of their mind, keep the little balance angel on their shoulder and just sometimes take a deep breath and realize it's going to be okay. Again, the lesson for every rising sign is always to, as much as possible, embrace some of your opposite, embrace some of that Pisces energy, embrace the chaos, right? Invite some of it into your life. It's karmically, psychologically, emotionally necessary for them to reach their full potential.